Greetings and salutations, viewers and listeners. Welcome to episode 97 of Word Ninjas Live. We have officially made it 2 years. Yay!
Hooray!
I am somehow still your leader. They haven't booted me out yet. Charles, and joining me tonight are Will.
Hello!
And Justin.
I'm drinking for celebration, not that I needed the celebration excuse in the first place.
And everyone else is off doing crazy shenanigans and whatnots, because reasons. But it's been 2 years, it's a Wednesday night, we still gotta do a show.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Fine.
But we'll make it somewhat easy on you, since the first one is mainly just interesting statistics to see how far we've come since episode 1. Obviously, we're at 97 Word Ninja Live episodes, which I think is a pretty impressive accomplishment. Not that many podcasts manage to make it to 97, or 2 years, or we'll make it to 100 easily enough at this rate. We've accomplished 22 interviews within that time, mostly at conventions, but we had a few here and there. No, it was about half at conventions, half on the podcast, and a handful elsewhere. We've had 26 not suitable for Word Ninja podcast episodes, which have been interesting. Some are more entertaining and better rated than others. Some are definitely NC-17. We have hit over 300 videos on our YouTube channel a couple weeks ago. I think we're technically at about 308 or 310 now, because I uploaded a few this week since I put that number down in the show notes. And we're at approximately 103 episodes on our audio stream. We have less than a half dozen old episodes of WNL to sync, and I think the last 2 weeks as of this recording still need to be synced, but we're almost at 100% synchronization. We've vendored...
Pretty big deal.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to being at 100% synchronization. It'll make things a lot easier for everyone. We've managed to vendor at 6 conventions, 3 Kineticons, Rhode Island Comic Con, Inconceivable, Your Minicon. We've also been press at Kineticon, Rhode Island, and Inconceivable last year. There should be a 5 in that one. We were not at Your Minicon in the year 1. It was in 2015. We were also press at Your Minicon 2015, Book Expo 2015, and we got 4 more cons this year that we're going to be press at, so that number is going to keep on going up. And other people have added in stats of countless demons battled. Yeah, we haven't really bothered counting all the demons that we've killed. There have been many. Just as many bottles of moonshine, whiskey, beer, wine, and mystery brews that have been consumed, both on and off camera. Even on camera, we haven't really kept track with that, but there are a fair amount of videos from conventions that will prove that. Off air, we're not going to count those. That would be dangerous.
Together we don't have enough fingers and toes.
No.
I know that we just don't have enough integers. I mean, there's a finite number of integers, so...
And there's an infinite amount of things to consume, especially when there's 5 of us. But yeah, it's been an interesting 2 years. We've managed to accomplish a surprising amount. I think we've kicked off a lot more endeavors than we ever imagined since episode 1. And because of that, our main talkie point is going to be, what do we have in the works for the next 2 years? Because nuts to 5-year plans, it's only been 2 years for us already, and look at what we've managed. Just think of what we can do in the next 2 years. I mean, the biggest endeavor, of course, is Inspire the Muse, which is still puttering along. We're slowly pushing that forward. And I think a lot of us, if not all of us, are looking forward to when that's finally a proper thing. It's definitely going to have its own levels of stress and ridiculousness, but
You'll be happy to know that I've allotted this entire weekend basically to work on business plan, logistics, and actual writing. And my boss is gone all week, so he can't trick me into doing some emergency project.
while I hope that's true, we'll find out next week how that holds up.
Yep.
But we have a lot of ideas and endeavors in the mix for Inspire the Muse once that becomes a thing. So we're really pushing that forward, and it will be in the next 2 years. It's unlikely it'll be this year just because of how many curveballs we've been thrown, a lot more than we've expected and budgeted for, as it were. But we'll make it happen. As for myself, I'm hoping to push forward my visual novel idea, Ashen Sky, within the next 2 years, which will then become one of the things that we sell and promote, probably through Inspire the Muse, or at least that's the hope. But I really look forward to working on that whole choose-your-own-adventure political intrigue game based in a steampunk world with burlesque tea shops and assassin bakers and biomechanical armies. And I'm hoping, theoretically, that I can pull off a master's in English, or at least get that started within the next 2 years. That keeps on getting pushed back for various reasons. Various other priorities keep on coming up. Not to mention, Matt, education is expensive. And certain financial priorities keep on cropping up and whittling down my education funds. But this will happen in the next 2 years, or else people will probably just make fun of me. And I'll probably make fun of myself, because this is something I really want to do, so I'll find a way to make it happen. And now I'm going to make someone else speak. You can volunteer, or
Is not being sick in your 2-year plan?
that would be nice.
Not having a sore throat and having allergies.
Oh, not catching walking pneumonia would have been nice.
Hmm.
This is the tail end of walking pneumonia.
Oh, I don't want to see what you were like last week.
Yeah, last week was not pleasant. Even this Monday was not pleasant.
I have a friend who got bronchitis and didn't go to the doctor for a week.
Ooh. Yeah, I think Will can attest to just how not good I sounded come Monday.
It was bad. I don't
Well-
even want to imagine what you sounded like over the weekend.
I just didn't talk.
So, much like CJ, I'm planning on furthering my education in one way or another, whether it's taking online classes, taking a writing course at the Gotham Writers, whatever, and learning programming. I plan on programming a game that I've had in my head for a while, actually a couple, and it would help if I learned programming first. So I'm going through the learning programming the hard way, which basically breaks it down to you having to type out all the code by hand, because that's what you'd be doing in real life, with trying to avoid copy and pasting. so that you can kind of practice the syntax, and it's been helpful and interesting. I'm just getting into the meat of it now. Besides that, most of my goals for the next 2 years are kind of holdovers from this year, things that I'm continuing on, like, for example, learning Mandarin and losing weight. Those two things are constant goals that will probably take years. So I'll be continuing working on those. More importantly, I plan on publishing my first book in the next 2 years, hopefully in the next year more than the next 2 years. I'm going off on vacation and revisiting an old draft of a book that I want to turn into a novel during Camp Nano in July. So while I'm in Arizona, I'm going to be basically sitting around in an air-conditioned room while my whole family is at work. So I figured, why not write? That'll be perfect time. So I'll be working on that. But other than that, the next 2 years are fairly light. It's mostly bettering myself, learning, and moving up in the career, and also paying off student loans, which is a pretty big deal. I've already paid off a bunch. I'm paying off another one in full next month. By the end of the year, I'll only have one loan company I'll have to contend with, and my cash flow will increase, and it's all good.
Hooray!
And hooray for everybody wanting to publish and get books and things, because that's also on my list. I'm hoping in the next 2 years to finish the first official draft of My Roommate's a Stripper and then work towards publication of it. The first step, of course, being lots and lots of editing. I'm going to have to go back through those 400 plus pages as of right now with a fine-tooth comb and maybe some fire. But that is how it is when you're attempting to write. Lots of editing.
Now, I want to interrupt for a second. This I did not know. I thought My Roommate's a Stripper has been largely somewhat edited and published in piecemeal. Have you been rough draft publishing? Like, I know you...
Well, when I started putting it out, my initial goal wasn't to publish it. It kind of developed, like, this has become really big. Maybe I should try to publish it. But I'm not happy, like, as I've written it, I've also grown as a writer. I've
so
kind of
going
found
back to the first stuff.
Yeah, I look back at the first stuff, I'm like, I never would have written it this way now if I was writing the scene. So I think my style has changed. I want to go back and try to make everything homogeneous, as it were. I'm probably going to have to purchase a red pen. So I don't think I own one.
If you're interested in a beta reader who has not read your works at all yet, count me in.
Once it's done. Still a few chapters left to go.
I know I read like the first 12 chapters as they were coming out, and I've been behind ever since. And I've forgotten whatever was in those 12 chapters, so I would join in.
There's 29 out now. Officially. The 29th one will officially go out the end of this month. It went out the end of last month only for Patreon.
Well, if you need a red pen, I have 3 right here.
I don't have that many hands. I usually only can use 1, maybe 2 at a time. Maybe if I put one in my mouth, I can edit with all 3.
I have brutal honesty on my side, too.
But, yeah, so that's on my agenda for the next 2 years, as well as getting the other story ideas out of my head. Because even as I'm writing Roommate, other ideas are in my head that want to be written. And I'm like, no, I'll make notes. I'll take notes. But we're not actually writing this yet. So that'll probably happen possibly in the next 2 years. At least one of those will get started in the next 2 years as well. So lots of writing for me.
It would be nice to say that I'll actually get Slash and Burn put together within the next 2 years, but between all the other stuff, I think that's more of a 3 to 5 year project within itself. Fairly certain that Inspire the Muse is going to take priority over that, at least for me. Plus whatever other curveballs get thrown at us. Because there's always curveballs. At least once a week. Like walking pneumonia, which makes it very hard to do recordings, or focus, or do anything.
Why don't you tell your pneumonia to stop walking around and like go to sleep or something?
It's very stubborn.
Exercise.
Mm. And unfortunately, Calvin still can't seem to make an appearance, but he added his own 2 year goals in the show notes. Looks like he's going to be focusing on music school, or at least musical training. I have a feeling that's going to be primarily because of all the soundtrack and production work that he's getting more and more involved with. It definitely does help to have the academic training behind that to better understand all the musical theory and logic behind it all.
Of us has to be able to speak for a different creative field other than writing.
Yeah. Well, I know Ed could speak towards the art.
Yeah.
But Ed is busy taking over the world, so...
He's currently fighting with a sewing machine right now. Speaking of creating things.
Yeah, the reason Ed is rarely on this show because he's busy.
Yes.
He has many various creative endeavors to work on.
And he keeps adding more.
Hmm.
Considering this was a last minute, I want to cosplay as this person at Kineticon. Came up with this idea about a week ago and started enacting it.
Well, you gotta play with your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, to our viewers and listeners, post in the comments accordingly, what are you planning on doing in the next 2 years? And what have you been up to in the past 2 years? What have you accomplished with your creative endeavors? How have they progressed? Have you finished projects? Have you started ones? Do you have some on the horizon that you're looking forward to? Post in the comments. Let us know. And the next talkie point is one that we've started asking our interviewees, because it's one of the primary concepts around Inspire the Muse, and we are trying to get as many perspectives on it as possible. So I figured I'd actually ask the crew for their answers. But the question is, just why are we trying to inspire artists in their endeavors anyway? Like, why are we even bothering with Inspire the Muse? Other than it sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm sure we'll have fun doing it.
You're right, this doesn't make any sense. Shut it all down.
Okay.
Sorry, we tried. No creativity for anyone. I'm keeping it all to myself.
Is that part of your 2 year plan?
Yep.
Can we keep the Doomsday device?
I plan on using the Doomsday device. Is it a one-use only device?
It depends on which Doomsday device.
If it has extra uses, you guys can keep it.
I think it's under warranty.
Ooh. I think I have to peel the sticker off to use it, though.
Yeah.
Since I spoke first, I guess I can talk about this first. I didn't write anything down in the show notes because I've been just thinking about this for the last week. You know, I'm sort of somewhat of an outsider in this group, although I've come more into the fold now than ever before. And I had to think about, why am I doing this? Why am I part of this thing that's happening? Why am I supporting it, both emotionally, time, and in the future financially? And it really comes down to one thing, and that's I wish I had this growing up. I wish I had Inspire the Muse, somewhere where I can go to realize that my creative endeavors is not totally worthless, and that other people are doing creative endeavors, and other people respect creativity, and other people this is the part where whoever's editing this file will compress this awkward silence down. It's hard to talk about this because this is an emotional thing for me. When I was growing up, when I was a small child, all of my creative endeavors were basically squashed by adults. Everything that I was doing wasn't really supported, and if it wasn't directly unsupported, like some of my teachers, when I started writing, I got sent to the guidance counselor because what I was writing was too edgy for my age group, and that shut me down. I've had tragic events with my works being shut down. My parents have always supported me, but sort of in a passive way. But, whenever I talk to anybody else, I'm like, oh, I'm working on a book, or, oh, I'm working on this piece of artwork. No one really seems to take that seriously. The barrier to entry, and I think this is a systemic problem, the barrier to entry in creativity is actually fairly low. You get a creative idea and you start working on it. And as CJ is going to talk about later, I peeked at the show notes earlier, everyone has the ability to be creative. The barrier to entry of financial stability and return on investment, however, is extremely high. You hear a lot about people going to college and coming out with student loan debt, and people are asking, oh, why are you in debt? And they're like, oh, well, I took, a degree in, some endeavor that's not STEM-based. And then people laugh at you, and they're like, oh, well, that's stupid. No wonder you're not going to be successful and you're not going to make any money. And so I feel like this whole time, people have just been, pardon my French, shitting on creativity to a certain extent. At least the people in my immediate life, since I sort of went the STEM path. And there's creativity in problem solving, to be sure, but artistic creativity is a little bit different. And I just wish that I had Inspire the Muse, 10, 15 years ago. I would have been doing nano more often and probably have actually succeeded in nano before I turned, 28. I probably would have, turned those rough drafts into actually editing something. I would have kept proceeding in my art, in my drawing. I had a couple art books that I was working on, but it was just I wasn't getting any support. And so I needed Inspire the Muse, and it came too late for me, and I don't want it to come too late for anybody else. And so that's why I'm passionate about Inspire the Muse and what we're going to be offering, especially in the near and immediate future.
Who wants to follow that up?
Yeah, I probably should have gone last in retrospect.
Kind of steal my answer a little bit, but I share essentially the sentiments. There is a lot in society that points to like, oh, you want to get into art? You'll never make any money off of art. You'll never make any money off of writing. That's what everybody believes. And it doesn't have to be true, and I want to help be a part of allowing people to feel like they can succeed while being creative instead of just getting a typical white-collar or blue-collar job and sitting behind a desk and typing away at a keyboard and filing paperwork when what they want to do is write or paint or sculpt or craft music. And all whatever it is you want to do, act, sing, play the guitar, develop a new form of art, because I'm sure there's a new way we can be artistic somewhere. I'm sure. People have done some crazy artistic things in the past. But as long as you're creating and not hurting anybody, it's always good. That, and I think it would be a lot of fun. I enjoy creating, and I enjoy working with other people that are creating. I enjoy talking with people about their stories, their plots, their characters, and talking to them about my story, my plot, my characters. And I'd love that to be like my life.
We're working on it.
I feel like there's a certain cynicism when discussing your creative endeavors, even with your peers. There's a lot of people that are trying to scramble to the top and kicking a bunch of people on the way up, trying to get above them. And I think that's extremely tragic. And I think what we're going to supply as Inspire the Muse is, sort of a community feeling. We're all in this together, and we all want each other to succeed. And I think that's where creativity really shines. It's not a race to get to the top. And I think what Will was saying about that, I totally agree with.
I think what kind of spins it in a slightly different way for me is I agree it's not a race to the top in that I don't believe it's a vertical challenge of if you reach this level, you are an artist or you are perfect, you are great at what you do. I think it's a little more complicated than that. It may be four-dimensional or multi-dimensional, which is probably why it's hard to visualize or explain, but I do agree in that it is a community effort and we are all in this together. But I believe everyone has their own perspectives on creativity, which is why even if you've been doing this for 5, 10, 15, 50 years, there's still something that you can learn or get new perspective on if you talk to someone who's only been at it for 3 days or a year or just trying something new. There's no real top or peak or end up to creativity. It's truly never ending. There's always something new, a new style, a new method, a new chance to try something old, try something new, tweak things, see just what if. Use different methods, different formats, different materials. There's infinite combinations, infinite possibilities. And I feel like Inspire the Muse is going to have that mindset to help build a community that is focused on pushing that forward. So as a community, we can all help each other in our creative endeavors, push creative endeavors forward, understand how our creative endeavors can fit in the current world and some of the ridiculous logistics that are in this world, both financial and legal. I think that those are the two main things where we really get stuck, not counting societal ridiculousness, but how to make money off of your creative endeavors so that you can continue doing them on a regular basis, and how to protect yourself and your creative endeavors legally so that other people don't mess with it or take it as their own or complicate matters to the point where you can't continue working on them as you wish. And none of that was actually in the notes that I wrote in the show notes. You just kind of kicked off a rant from me.
Recorded.
Good, I can listen to it and figure out what the hell I just said.
If nothing else, I think we all have passion.
Hmm.
For me, it's probably nothing else. Oh, integrity. I have integrity. Passion and integrity.
I'm kind of curious where Calvin fits in on all of this since he was able to join in, and I'm hoping that his sound system actually works.
Does it?
Ooh.
Okay, you sound like a robot. You are slightly terrifying. So rather than play,
I don't know anymore. This is
Mother of God.
I'm, I'm slightly amused and slightly terrified.
I can feel Calvin's frustration through the camera.
I don't want to laugh, but he sounds like Ned from South Park.
Yeah, rather than play the ever fun game of "Can we hear you now?" What were my notes in the actual show notes?
How's this?
Much better.
Hooray!
Yeah, I was getting ready to murder every electronic device in my bedroom because this last hour has been an absolute nightmare trying to get anything to work.
What did you do?
I don't know.
Importantly, what did you do to fix it?
Well, this here particularly was easy. I forgot I hadn't switched over to my good mic.
Your bad mic should probably go in the garbage.
Unfortunately, it's connected to my laptop.
Oh, that mic.
I don't know why that one went all robotic, but whatever.
Just for fun. Because it's 2 years and we need technical difficulties of some sort.
And who better for it to happen to than to the tech guy? But anyway, there's a lot of talk about passion, and I've plumb run out of it right now trying to get something to work so I can be here. But I think all of us share the one thing that we all share about this endeavor is passion. And for me personally, I've noticed that there's a lot of people out there that have it in them to be creative in one form or another, and either don't realize it, either aren't aware of it, are aware of it and don't know where to begin, or just people that don't really take advantage, or even worse, just kind of squander them. So, seeing what we've been doing for the last few years and trying to light some sparks in people, that's been pretty exciting. But I think a little bit more than that, which ended up becoming a byproduct of our going to conventions and networking and even doing interviews. Is meeting other people, meeting other inspired people who have so many stories to tell, and in turn can not only inspire others, inspire us as well, us that are putting this endeavor together. So the fact that we can not only inspire people ourselves, but also find other inspiring people and draw inspiration from them. That's been something very special. I found to be very special about this.
Yeah, we've definitely met some incredible people across the last 2 years.
I've never seen Calvin so happy than being behind the camera, recording what probably was not his idol a week ago, but has become his idol because that person is willing and ready to talk about their life in a meaningful way. And watching Calvin react behind the camera was an amazing sight and was inspirational to me just in general.
That interview in particular was incredibly personal for me because of my grandmother's ties to the music industry. I have no doubt that Charles Connor and my grandmother crossed paths at one point in time. because my grandmother worked for Decca Records as the secretary to the CEO. So everyone that the bigwig met, she met as well. So, and she's told me stories about how she met Little Richard and so many other artists out there, and I just felt a connection there that I really don't get to feel too often with people that we meet and interview. So that one was particularly special. So that's why you saw all the reactions that came from me during that interview. So I I think being able to like just have that half hour with him is him talking about like all the things, like all the like wild stuff that's happened in his life, what he was able to accomplish. That like that was huge for me. Not only from the personal, excuse me, not just from a personal aspect, but just being able to have that archived for others to see and to draw inspiration from. And that was a definite game changer for me. That's something that I want to carry want to carry into us going deeper into Inspire the Muse. Not just inspiring, not just to inspire, but just be storytellers. Like I never realized that like we could have the potential to like not just help people write stories, but help people tell stories too. That's incredible.
There's a podcast that I used to listen to quite a bit called Risk, and they were a storytelling podcast where you would tell a story about your life. Usually it was a little racy uh, and involved, embarrassing things happening, some often sexual in nature. Uh, and it was fun listening to those stories. It wasn't, some of them were comedians, but it wasn't like joke, punchline. It was just telling a story and sharing that experience with another person. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I would recommend, listening to a couple of those episodes. You may find that very interesting, if not funny and amusing.
Yeah, link me to that one if you can.
Sure. I believe it's run by Kevin Allister, who was from the show. I think that's how it works. But yeah, I'll figure it out and hook you up.
All right, cool.
One thing I've noticed across the last 2 years is stuff like Inspire the Muse, Word Ninjas Live, all of the conventions, all of that stuff is pretty much outside of our comfort zone, or at least what our comfort zones were 2 years ago. And all of the various other creative endeavors and ideas that we have yet to implement are outside of our comfort zones, or what our comfort zones were 2 years ago. That's what creativity does. Creativity kind of pushes you to try new things or new styles. It really helps you expand your comfort zone or find new comfort zones. I know it has for me because I never expected myself to be speaking in front of anyone in a public manner. Never mind on the internet, never mind for 2 years, never mind frickin' running the damn show. Not to mention interviewing incredible people across the last 2 years and hearing their stories and having them remember us a year or 2 years later. There were people from Book Expo last year that remembered us when we saw them, and they were still excited to see us there and catch up and talk to us again.
Like that is like that is a hell of a feeling, I have to tell you. Like to be able to like make an impression on people like that, so much that they like they're excited to see you after a year of little to no contact. It's almost like seeing an old friend, you know?
Well, that's what they become eventually, or just very easily for some of them.
Right. That's cool.
Oops. I mean, granted, with 2 years to look back on, there are some things I wish I could have done better or more effectively, but hey, live and learn.
Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah. We still accomplished incredible things, sometimes in spite of ourselves directly. I mean, I'm still kind of amazed that we managed to get an interview with C.J. Henderson, of all people.
Right.
I wish we had another opportunity to interview him, but unfortunately that was not in the cards.
I have to look through my archives and see what I can do about getting the audio to like be less terrible.
I think there's only so much we can do about that because of the tech we were using at the time.
Right.
I mean, a blue snowball mic works pretty well, all things considered, but it picks up a surprising amount of background noise.
I guess worst case scenario is we could transcribe the whole thing and publish it as an article. Wouldn't be the worst idea. Oh my god. My apologies.
Yeah, that is on the list of endeavors to eventually accomplish, getting transcriptions of all the interviews that we can post.
Oh, to be fair, 2 years ago I didn't have Adobe Audition.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we didn't have 2 years ago. We've made several upgrades since then.
Yep, I think we've been doing all right for ourselves.
But yeah, going back to the concept of comfort zones, I think that's one of the other reasons why it would be nice to have Inspire the Muse. It would be a nice, creative yet safe community for people to test their comfort zones and push their comfort zones to find out what creative endeavors work for them or that they can actually accomplish without having to worry too much about current societal perceptions.
And there's certain things like the Academy of Excellence where you think, do I have the authority to give people my ideas and my techniques on how to live life? Who am I to say that my Academy of Excellence classes would actually benefit people or humanity? And that's a tough thing to get around. And I think having an open community and an open forum is helpful in that regard. You can get direct feedback from other creative people. And, you know, obviously, much like when I did the world building seminar, went through it the first time, wasn't that great. There were some things that were really good about it and some things that were pretty bad. And just going through the experience, I learned, okay, this is what works and this is what doesn't work. And if we ever do it again, I'll do it, moderately differently than what I did before. And I think having people that aren't going to throw tomatoes at you and you being able to workshop yourself is very helpful. And I think that creative people are really good at picking the good out of the mediocre. And I think that's what's helpful about when I did that seminar. You know, some of the stuff that I did, like trying to read the Silmarillion as an opener, was cringeworthy and took a lot longer and was a lot dumber than I thought that it would be in my head. And maybe I could have parsed it down to a couple key sentences instead of trying to read a whole chapter from the Silmarillion of all things. I don't know what I was thinking. but people didn't complain about that. They just picked out what was awesome, and the hands-on workshopy stuff people had a lot of fun with. And I think I can work again that seminar through the workshop part and kind of cut some of the stuff that wasn't really that fun or interesting or rewarding. And I think creative people are really good at picking out that good and running with it instead of being super critical and saying, oh, this seminar sucked, I don't know why I came here. We can glean things and work together to improve all aspects of what we're doing.
Mm.
I think the thing about creative people is creative people realize that not everything has to be perfect, and 99.8% of the time nothing is perfect. It's just something that you have to continue to refine and refine some more and refine further until you get it to a point where it's as close to perfection as you can get. Sometimes that'll happen, sometimes it'll never happen, but you have it out there, and there will be people out there people that are going to appreciate it, and sometimes will help contribute to make it better and refine it and continue to refine some more. So that's where the community comes in.
And I think you're not going to make everyone happy with everything that you do.
Exactly.
So putting out a variety, I'm thinking about, albums. A lot of people are going to latch on to certain songs in an album
Right.
that other people don't really care about and don't think is a particularly good song. An example that I have is the song Saltwater Room by Owl City really affected me. It was a beautiful duet, and no one seems to know about that song. When they think of Owl City, they think about Fireflies and some other songs, more popular stuff. And I think that happens a lot with all albums probably. There's not everything everyone is going to like, especially when you have artists that kind of change their style every album or so.
Mm.
I really think that that's extremely brave. Instead of succumbing to what has gotten you successful in the past, to actually try to branch out and try to do something new and different and seeing what happens. And I think that's something that creative people are really good at.
I agree. It's never a bad thing to try. It's never bad to try new things. Trying to figure out what sticks. You can find your niche and stick with it, and it eventually becomes status quo. But honestly, don't see the point in sticking with one thing if there's no growth attached to it. If you're not growing, you're stagnating, and I don't see the point in continuing to be creative if you're just gonna stagnate and just do the bare minimum and not push yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you're welcome to focus on one particular style or genre, like if you want to primarily be a writer versus an artist, that's fine. But it's useful to experiment here and there on the side, just to help slowly expand your repertoire. But there's a balance to be found, I think. It's not try every single thing possible, or just focus on one sole thing. You can have your strengths, and you can focus on those by all means, but what good is one strength if you have 50 weaknesses? Then again, that's where community helps. Whatever your weaknesses are, other people have those as strengths. So you can form partnerships and build podcast crews to balance everything out.
And we're still trying to work out the balance there.
Yeah, little by little. Then again, the balance is consistently shifting.
That's true.
We all wear about 20 different hats, so.
Mm.
I'm not sure there's a balance to be found. And I think that's what makes it exciting.
There's that element of chaos.
Semi-controlled chaos.
That's literally the definition of chaos versus randomness.
God damn it, reality man.
Don't make me start bifurcating polynomials on the air.
Good night, everybody.
You know, Justin, after that 2-year anniversary, we never had a single podcast listener. It was weird. I don't know what happened.
All right, I think I'm just gonna go off of the notes that I actually wrote down because I thought it was relatively well written at the time, even though I've gotten all sorts of other reasons just from listening to others. That always seems to happen, but I still wanted to share this. The main reason initially that I wrote it down was it's kind of been one of my guiding thoughts over the past several years from when I started originally with just a local writing group because we didn't really have one, and I still wanted to do Nano because I like the community. And then it expanded to, well, can we do some of this stuff online for other people or just in general? And then it evolved to, hey, Calvin, I want to start a company.
And I was like, okay.
Help me build the website for it.
Okay.
And it kind of snowballed from there. That's how full coverage writers came to be. But I've also kind of honed it down to the reason why I did all of that was because Chris Beatty from NaNoWriMo says that everyone has a story in them. Everyone can be a writer. I expanded that to everyone has a creative spark in them. Because while yes, everyone does have a story to them, usually multiple stories, and they're always getting more, not everyone has a focus or interest or passion for words specifically. There are other formats of storytelling out there, from art to music to dozens of other options. So I feel like the concept of everyone has a creative spark in them is a little more apt. And I mean, yes, some shine brighter than others, and some people actually focus that spark while others just ignore it for various reasons. But it is in there in everyone. And sparking that, or igniting that spark, creates incredible things. I mean, look at some of the various technologies that we've managed to create just within the last decade or two. Look at some of the stories that have become powerhouses over the last decades. From movies to music to just everything in society. A lot of it was because someone had an idea and they actually worked on it. I want to be part of that. Whether it's just as passive as leading by example, God help us all, or as active as working with others directly to create something new, I think it'll probably be more of an in-between option by having Inspire the Muse offer the engaging materials to inspire and motivate and engage with the people and provide ways to learn new skills and how to practice them and just keep looking at the world a bit sideways and never take anything for granted. I feel like having a company help put all that together and build a community of like-minded people who are willing to push the boundaries, push their comfort zones, and try new ways of being creative. I think that is definitely worthwhile and why I keep pushing Inspire the Muse to be a thing and why I keep on somehow gathering like-minded, ridiculously crazy people to help me pull that off. And why, when we talk to people 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 years later, they still remember us or they remember what we talked about and they're still interested because they also find it interesting. They also think it's worthwhile. in some way, shape, or form. That is why we are doing this. So says the boss man.
Okay.
Please.
Sir.
And of course, to our viewers and listeners, why do you persist in your creative endeavors? What makes you continue writing your stories or working on your art or creating new songs or just trying new things? Why do you keep going on? Post in the comments below so that you can share your stories with ours. Now, because I figured that one of those talking points, if not both, would kind of create an ongoing discussion, we are skipping the highlights reel for this week because I didn't put that together. So
Highlight
we're
of
gonna.
this week.
Hmm?
We are the highlight of this week.
Yes. Surviving 2 years of all of this is the highlight,
Yeah.
and is definitely newsworthy.
You know, a famous podcaster that I don't remember who said this, but they said that, you know, anyone can pump out a bunch of episodes. You know, the marker of, oh, this is our 100th episode, this is our 200th episode, is really not that meaningful. What is meaningful is the yearly thing. We've been continuing to publish content, and this 2-year mark, while it's only episode 97, and you might think, oh, well, you know, 97, why not just celebrate episode 100? I think the 2-year mark showing our long-term dedication speaks way more volumes than just episode count. And we provide content that's not just this podcast, a ton of it. So I feel like this 2-year anniversary is very well worth the celebration.
Yeah, even since the 1-year anniversary, we've completely exploded with content. I mean, we have the Game Break series, which was not around a year ago, which is now daily, basically. I mean, we're tossing out content every day now.
And interesting variety too.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not just one person running that project. We're all contributing
right.
and having fun doing it.
Yeah, I still feel kind of weird about how I acted in that turbo dismount video.
That was a wacky game.
I enjoyed it though, which is why I kind of flew off the handle.
And I think the most fun I've had in a game was Dominique Pamplemousse, because I went into that blind and I had no idea what to expect, but it delivered a very fun little story for a point-and-click game.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching that.
I'm really upset that my How to Fool Boyfriend recording got corrupted and destroyed by Twitch.
I was really looking forward to seeing your initial reactions to that. I'm sorry I missed that video.
It was different and hilarious, but intriguing in a weird way that I didn't understand emotionally. I'm looking forward to playing games where I get emotionally attached to characters and then they are killed due to my own arrogance. I'm going to be playing, you know, I just got Valkyrie Chronicles. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's basically similar to like a Fire Emblem XCOM game where it's a turn-based strategy, although there's some weird stuff going on, and I guess you know, there's a lot of interplay between characters, and if one of your characters gets killed, they're dead forever, and it affects the story. And I'm really connecting to those kind of games, and look forward to me screaming at the edge of somebody's grave very soon.
We can balance that out as I scream at the screen because I'm starting off my Doom 3 playthrough
Oh boy.
with face cam.
Nice.
The first episode of that is recorded. I just gotta double check that all the stuff worked the way it needed to so I can edit it properly.
Okay.
Pro tip with that game, I don't know if you've experienced this already, you probably have. If you see like a cache of armor and bullets in a nice safe corner where there's no monsters, you should definitely go get those things. There's definitely no monsters that come out after
Oh
you
yeah, nothing
acquire
could
those
go wrong.
items. Nothing goes wrong when you collect large caches of items.
Oh yeah, especially if you have your flashlight on and you don't realize that it's about to turn off because it's almost fully dead.
Yep.
It's perfect timing because it's armor. You'll be safe.
It's fine. And it's under this grate. So, I mean, the grate probably isn't going to collapse and spawn 10 cacodemons.
Nope, never happens.
Also, never look behind you because there's never monsters that spawn behind you while you're walking down a hallway.
Nope, never. But yeah, I mean, within the last year, we've kicked off with the Game Break series. We're posting that 4 to 5 days a week. We've spun out the Muse Food segment and are evolving it as of this weekend. Again, it keeps on evolving. We keep on tweaking it and adapting it and seeing what kind of works and what doesn't. So look forward to that. And I'm having a lot of fun with that now that we've kind of evolved it and tweaked it into the latest iteration. I mean, we still need to record for it, but I'm excited for where it's going.
I'm actually looking forward to this latest version of it myself, especially the possibilities of the good Lord, what section was it?
The new one?
Yeah, the newest section where
Story cards.
I may be forced to bring my tablet out of retirement. First, I have to figure out where I put it.
Somewhere.
It's in a pile somewhere in this bedroom.
Yeah,
But
speaking of comfort zones, that frickin' Muse food has definitely pushed me out of mine because I'm diving headfirst into Illustrator now so that I can actually pull that off. But I've learned more about Illustrator in the last, 3 weeks than I had in about a year and a half of just poking at it half-heartedly. So it's definitely worthwhile.
still trying to decide if I want to use Illustrator or just Photoshop for the story cards.
Yeah, dealer's choice.
Whatever I can use to pump out good work quicker.
Mm.
I have significantly more years of experience with Photoshop than I do with Illustrator. By at least 10 years. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's actually part of my productivity, which we got derailed from that segment entirely.
Nice transition.
Yeah.
Expert podcast host.
I'm diving headfirst into Illustrator and a little bit of Photoshop. I'm still in the kiddie pool for that, but it's definitely worthwhile, and I'm having fun doing it once I finally figure out just how stuff actually works that I've been wondering about for a while. What's the site? Oh, tutsplus.com has been a lot of use for figuring out just how do I actually go about creating these ridiculous things. Unfortunately, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, Tuts Plus has been my friend for several years now.
Yeah, I keep on ending up on there again after a year or so of ignoring it.
It's always there for you
Hmm.
when you need it the most.
Although I was going crazy today trying to figure out how the hell to do a particular design, and I'm looking for this stupid panel all over the place and where in the settings it is. And I go back to Tuts Plus and I look, oh, it's in Corel, not Illustrator.
Oh.
No wonder I can't find the damn setting. So I just made it up as I went along, and now I'm happier with my monstrous creation because it's
Okay.
all mine.
Nice.
One thing that has slowed me down considerably is last week I sounded miserable because I was sick. The day after, I went to the doc and got the official declaration of, hey, you have walking pneumonia, which is oh so much fun. This is the tail end of it, so I actually feel normal. I feel perfectly fine. It's just I have a cough and I sound horrible. But I've been on 5 days of nothing but antibiotics that really throw me for a loop. But it seems to have done the trick. Now I just gotta kick the cough. And I'm slowly coordinating all the various endeavors in July, because that's coming up really fast. And we need to start getting stuff coordinated for Kineticon.
I've never been more scared in my entire life.
You should be.
It's yeah,
Wait, is this your first Kineticon?
correct.
Oh boy.
I bailed on the last one due to work emergency.
Ah, that's right.
Which hopefully doesn't become a tradition.
No, it wasn't a work emergency. It was a personal emergency. I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was bad. Excuse me. No, that weekend is the weekend before I fly out to Arizona.
But yeah, we're all going full steam coordinating for that, from all the booth stuff to a couple new products which we're really pushing to get put together in time. I'm beginning to think that we're going to have to start implementing Plan B for some of those, but at least we've kind of prepared for Plan B. But we'll see where things stand as of next week. Hopefully I'll have some fun things to put in the productivity station for that. We shall see. Thankfully, the whole Plan B is not on anyone's part on the crew. It's more integrating third-party vendors in time.
Hmm.
We'll see if we can make it work, and if not, there are other options, so that we will have our shiny new baubles at Kineticon for sale and promotion, and going forward, of course. How have other people fared since last week?
Well, since I'm next on the list, I'll go. I think this is going to be for everybody here, but audiobook recording.
Whee!
Yay!
I'm the only one that hasn't participated in that yet.
You're doing the final editing.
Yeah, I gotta put it all together.
It was way harder than I thought.
It was. I didn't think it was that hard.
You're also a little deeper into editing and recording than
It's
Justin
true.
has been lately, though.
Well, not
Very
even the editing. I got the editing down eventually. I was rusty, but I got it. But the recording itself,
Looks like I'm not the only one with a cough.
I don't know where this cough is coming from. I need to get some water. I lost my voice halfway through the recording.
Oh no.
And then birds in the background.
Yep.
There's lots of issues. And reading off the page somebody else's writing was hard. I find it easy to read my own writing, but reading somebody else's writing, you get into your own lockstep cadence of your own writing, and then you kind of over-predict what the sentence is going to be, and then by the time you get to the end of it, you realize it was totally not what you just read.
Especially considering all the articles are written by different people. So even if you get into the cadence for one article, you go to the next article, and it's written by someone completely different.
Okay, so that is true, because I was going insane reading section one by one.
I apologize for nothing.
I like to see if I can figure out which ones are CJ's just from reading them.
Okay, so I wasn't the only one.
I figured that anytime there were any machinations or zombie apocalypse references and lots of description, non sequiturs, I figured that was a CJ article.
Probably.
I think I can nail a couple of them from that section.
If there's an excessive use of commas, it's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lists. CJ.
Paragraphs that are just
lists.
one sentence.
So yeah, I did that over the past week. I actually thought it was a bit of fun. It was something different. I also pretty much caught up on the backlog of Word Ninja Live audio episode editing. There is one left that I have to finish. I started it, but I didn't get to finish it yet. And I'm going to finish it tonight. And then for actual editing it, our backlog will be gone. And it'll just be a matter of posting and synchronizing.
Yeah, I think Richie has one backlogged episode at the moment that we should get by the end of the week. So then it'll just be the last couple weeks or so to catch up.
As long as we're caught up before Kineticon.
Yep.
Yes.
And of
Already
course,
not working.
and of course, I turned 30.
Hooray!
Yay.
Hey, I get to do that on Monday.
Yay.
I'm lazy. I'm not doing that till November.
Hurry up, slacker.
No.
So, yeah, I did that, and we had a good day. We went out on the day after, on Saturday. My birthday was last Friday. But we went out on Saturday because we all had the day off, and just kind of puttered around and had some fun, went out to eat, had a ridiculously delicious chicken salad that was unbelievable.
Go on.
It was grilled chicken on romaine lettuce with sliced beefsteak tomatoes, a smoky tomato ranch dressing, bacon, and cornbread croutons, which were basically just inch-cubed bricks of cornbread that were lightly fried and thrown in the salad.
That does sound good.
It was amazing. Oh, and there was cheese on it, too.
That sounds all sorts of amazing.
It was delicious that night. It was delicious for lunch the next day. Because it was also a huge salad.
What restaurant offers that?
The Steak Loft? Bighorn. I forget which one. It was a steak place. Up over in, by the Crystal Mall in Waterford.
Bighorn. Longhorn?
It might have been Longhorn. But it was delicious, and I loved it. At that and a rather delicious bourbon concoction that was Jim Beam and ginger.
Ooh.
It was very tasty. That was my birthday dinner.
That sounds like a pretty quality dinner.
It was.
Sweet.
Oh, and I finally got to try fried green tomatoes because we got that as an appetizer.
Oh, what do you think?
Delicious.
I have to try that one day.
They were ridiculously delicious.
And what has Justin been up to? Because it's been a while.
As mentioned before, the audiobook recording took way more time than I had anticipated. I thought it'd be a quick jaunt down reading lane, and it turned out to be a lot longer and a multiple-day process. Dropping off Gina at the airport and having her go off to Taiwan for 2 months was interesting. And so now I've just been kind of catching up on things doing around the house. Have a little bit of an ant problem because the apartment hasn't been cleaned for a little while, so I got to fix that. But I'm back on the horse on things like learning Mandarin and doing the programming and, the same stuff that I've been doing for a while. Nothing really new has come of it. I expect a lot more stuff this weekend, but I've probably said that every weekend for the last several months, so I'm not going to count on it. But I don't have any distractions. I'm not doing anything over the weekend except productivity stuff. So we'll see. Not a ton has been going on. Noteworthy. I've just been kept very passively busy.
And how about the Calvin?
Let's see. I hammered out the audiobook recording in a day, recording and editing, which was, honestly, it was a lot of fun, except for the times where I had to pause for cars, buses, and motorcycles whizzing by outside my window. And then there was the 3 or 4 hour off and on stretch of freaking children running and yelling and playing outside my window. That made for interesting times.
Those children go outside and have fun. Don't they know there's an internet right in their own homes?
That's what I'm saying. And that was a bit unexpected because that particular set of children, I don't hear them terribly often. But for that day of all days, for them to just start a commotion, that was unexpected and not terribly appreciated. But I got everything done. I think I have a couple of things to go back and tweak, but the editing process was long and arduous and well worth it because I got to learn Adobe Audition even more intimately than I thought I knew it. And the noise processing in Adobe Audition is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love it. It even canceled out some. Excuse me. I was able to cancel out some of the bird noises in the background.
Nice.
I'm not sure if you listened to the whole thing, but I was able to at least the bird noises I heard, I got at least 90% of them.
Oh yeah, I've listened to all of your files. Well, not Justin's yet, but both yours and Will's.
Maybe you'll have to pass that over to Calvin's. I think the next time I'll do it, I'll put a secondary mic in my window and use that as a spectrum
noise cancellation.
Yeah, spectrum invert it. Try to get some of it out. I got most of the background noise out, but for some reason I tried to use a spectrum analyzation to try to cut out the frequency range that the birds were in, but unfortunately they seem to overlap with the band of frequencies I speak in, so that was not working correctly.
Oh, we've never had that before.
See, I just closed my windows.
Excuse me.
My
I have
windows
something in my
were
throat.
closed.
Yeah, see, I closed my windows, which blocked out the sound, but also made it very warm very fast.
Yeah, I shut the
Yeah.
windows, but the birds are like right out on the other side of the window. And
Yeah.
I was in a room with no air conditioning, so I was also very hot.
Yeah,
I unfortunately rode over the rough draft, or saved over the rough draft, because I was planning on making a supercut of my frustration.
so I wasn't the only one that did that.
Yep, I'll do that on the next recording, because I'm sure I'll be swearing and sweating profusely.
Oh yeah, we have 2 more books that we need to do once they're edited and prepped for recording, so you'll get to do it all over again.
Yeah, I have at least 33 outtake files from recording on Saturday. I think it might make for a good NSFWN episode, at least part of one anyway.
Can probably toss in some stuff probably from tomorrow when we record for Muse Food. I'm sure there will be some flubs for that.
Let's see, what else have I been doing? Oh yeah, I have been. Hold on. Excuse me. I've been working on this year's audiovisual upgrade for convention season. I don't get the biggest piece of my new setup until probably around my birthday, but the new addition is going to be a field monitor. For those who don't know what a field monitor is, it's basically like a 7 or 8 inch little LCD monitor that plugs in, that's hooked up to your camera's output, and you're able to see it's basically a reference monitor. It works so much better than the camera's dinky built-in screen. So I will have less issues with trying to focus these freaking videos. Like, I'll do an initial focus, but there'll be times where I have to zoom in and refocus to focus in on whatever, and I'll try to go back out and zoom out and get the focus correct. And from the little dinky screen, it looks like it's fine, but I look back at the replay and I was like, God damn it.
It's especially fun when sometimes we have people on the move in recordings. I try to be good about that.
That particular interview actually worked out fine. Like, I didn't have to constantly refocus because he was still within the depth of field. So it was okay. What's been kind of fun trying to put this rig together is all the random stuff I need to buy in order to power this field monitor. So I have gone out and bought, let's see, 2 of these Sony batteries, Sony camcorder batteries, and this battery to DC converter. So battery goes in, this plugs into the field monitor, and field monitor gets power, and then profit.
Yay. We could use some of that right about now.
I agree. I'm sure there's other stuff I've been working on, but I just plumb don't remember right now. Those have been the biggest things. I guess preparing to say goodbye to my 20s counts for something. But yeah, I've been ready to leave my 20s for a while now.
I don't know. There's still one or two more things I wouldn't mind accomplishing before I hit 30.
Yeah, I've done all I could do now.
I've literally done all I can do now.
I mean, I've done more in the last 6 months than I could have ever imagined for the entirety of my 20s. So, all things considered, I feel very accomplished. So, it's very, very, very little you can take from me at this point. I've done all I can. I'm ready for the 30s and all the weirdness that'll be in store for this decade.
Considering all that we have in plan, there's going to be a lot of weirdness.
I think with everything that we're working on, this will probably be like the most fulfilling decade for all of us.
At least so far. I mean, who knows about 40s? Or beyond.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I said so far. All things go well. We all have a lot of life left, and so we've got plenty to look forward to.
So long as none of us fall apart.
I'm trying not to. Keyword there, try.
Yeah. I have plenty of duct tape so that I don't fall apart, but it doesn't really quite work on the voice, unfortunately.
That is true. Well, that's what Adobe Audition is for.
And of course, to our viewers and listeners, by all means, post how you've been over the past week. What have you accomplished, or what are you working on? Got anything in the works from now until next week that you're excited for or are going to find challenging? Post in the comments. And we've mentioned it on and off for a while now, but Kineticon is really coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's July 9th to 11th.
That's 3 weekends from now.
That's 2016, though, right?
Well, there is one in 2016, yes, but there's also one in 2015.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the one we're focusing on at the moment, anyway.
I've made a terrible mistake.
Well, it's too late to back out now.
You'd be surprised.
But yeah, we have the full crew as vendors, and we have the prime location in the Artist's Colony. We are literally table number 1.
We're number 1. We're number 1. Literally, we're number 1.
Can we have a little sign that says that?
I could have one printed.
Prop it up on one of the little ninja cubes.
Like, say the word, I will do it.
Word.
I'll put that on my to-do list. That's going to be great.
But as well as all of us being there as vendors, Calvin and I are also there as press. So just like last year, we get to go to all the press junkets and get recordings of all of that. And within the next 3 weeks, we're pulling together questions for all of the guests that are going to be in the press junkets. So we'll be prepared this year now that we know what to expect, so we can toss out questions on the fly and get those on recordings too.
That's going to be fantastic. Oh boy. I'm really looking forward to those to the press junkets. I mean, they're all early as all hell, but hey, that's where coffee comes in.
Hmm.
I'm gonna. I think I may brew up a batch of cold brew to bring with me to a Kineticon to help me get through the early mornings.
And who knows, maybe we'll get lucky again this year and actually get a one-on-one interview with one of them. You never know.
Why not?
And we're also slowly figuring out logistics for August with a KaiCon, where Calvin and I are going as part of the OTP manga crew. And of course, at the end of that month is Inconceivable, the second annual Inconceivable, where yet again we're going as the full crew is going as vendors, and this time we got 3 press badges for myself, Calvin, and Justin.
Sweet.
And I'm sure by then we'll have figured out just what are all the panels and events going on and what can be recorded. So depending on how that all works out, we might even double up on sometimes. So one of us will be recording one event, one will be recording another event, and the rest will be at the booth. We'll see. And rounding out the events here is Hartford Comic Con early September. It's basically week after week after week of conventions. We don't really have much space in between them all, so after that it'll die down and we'll start tossing out some of our other endeavors that we're slowly pushing along. But we got a lot of fun stuff in the works for the rest of this calendar year. Never mind podcast year.
I look forward to all of them.
As do I, especially when I can talk normally. This is driving me nuts. All the info for those events are in the show notes. The links to the events are there. So if you are interested in attending, you can check them out, figure out the logistics for travel and expenses and all that. So you can come say hello and see us in person and buy some of our shiny baubles. We have many, and we're always coming up with more. We have a whole slew of 2015 design ideas that are slowly in the works. It's not looking likely that they'll be ready for Kineticon. That we have other products in the works for that. But definitely for Inconceivable, we're going to have some shiny new things to show off. But until then, I think it's time to start wrapping up. As always, if we have entertained you in any way, shape, or form, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can watch, comment, and thumbs up all the various shenanigans we get up to, from Word Ninjas Live to the Muse Food segment on Saturdays, which is newly evolved starting this Saturday. Check it out. We have Game Break episodes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and theoretically Sunday going forwards if I got the Doom playthrough working properly. And of course, interviews, convention shenanigans, after hours convention shenanigans. We have all sorts of fun stuff in the works. And YouTube's the best place to track all that down. God damn it. If you're not interested or up for listening or watching the videos, you can chat to us via social media. We're on Twitter at FCWordNinja, and we track the hashtag WordNinjas. We're also over on Tumblr, fcwordninja.tumblr.com, and Facebook, facebook.com/fullcoveragewriters.
Do you need one of us to continue to spiel?
If someone wants to pick up, by all means.
All right. I'm on the page, so I can take it from here.
Do it.
All right. You can help fund our various endeavors by perusing our Etsy store. All purchases help to pay for our audiobook recording costs, convention attendance and coordination, tech and recording upgrades, and global domination through the written word.
And what is that Etsy link?
The Etsy link is etsy.com/shop/full-coverage-writers. This podcast has been brought to you by Full Coverage Writers, a repository resource for writers. You can contact us via email at wordninja@fcwriters.com. And with that, just who are all of us crazy people? Do I get to say since I'm speaking right now, or do I get to pick?
You're the boss at the moment. You can order it however you like.
No.
All right, since I'm speaking, I'm gonna go first. I'm Calvin, your man about technology and music and all things in between. You can find me on Tumblr at instacal.tumblr.com, something I should check a little more often. I also have a creative Tumblr, which I'm actually going to post something to later in the week at stateofcalvin.tumblr.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ccwii, and on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/soundsbycalvin. Will, who are you and where can we find you?
I am me. And you can usually find me on my Tumblr page at darkom.tumblr.com. Though I admit I don't update it very often. If you're looking for any information on My Roommate's a Stripper, you can check out myroommatesastripper.tumblr.com. There's character bios, some fan art, and all of the public chapters are up there, as well as a few little side story things. And you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/darkom.
All right, Justin, who are you and where can we find you on social media?
Well, I'm not worthy of social media at the moment. Much like previous weeks, I have not really done a whole lot of anything, so I'm punishing myself by not promoting myself. Seems smart. This weekend is Productivity Weekend. I expect things to be done, so there will be plugs next week, probably. I have faith.
All right, we have faith in you too.
Misguided faith, but faith.
All right, faith is faith. And Boss Man, can you speak?
Kinda.
Where can we find you, sir?
Best bet is still my personal Tumblr, fancypantswolf.tumblr.com. You can occasionally spot me on the Fairy Tale podcast as Makarov, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Mondays, on their YouTube channel. And technically, I still have a Twitter handle at silver_wolf85, but I don't really pay much attention to it at the moment. But who knows? Every once in a while, I come back to it, so I'll toss that out there.
All right, I think that about does it for this episode. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to episode 97, our 2-year anniversary of the Word Ninjas Live podcast.
Woo! Yay!
Tune in next week for episode 98 and all the various shenanigans we are going to get ourselves into. Until next time, take care, everybody.
Bye. Been whittling down my education funds, but this will happen in the next 2 years, or else people will probably just make fun of me. And I'll probably make fun of myself, because this is something I really want to do, so I'll find a way to make it happen. And now I'm going to make someone else speak. You can volunteer, or
Is not being sick in your 2-year plan?
that would be nice.
Not having a sore throat and having allergies.
Not catching walking pneumonia would have been nice.
Hmm.
This is the tail end of walking pneumonia.
Oh, I don't want to see what you were like last week.
Yeah, last week was not pleasant. Even this Monday was not pleasant.
I have a friend who
For
got
any
bronchitis and didn't go to the doctor for a week.
Ooh. Yeah, I think Will can attest to just how not good I sounded come Monday.
It was bad. I don't even
Well-
want to imagine what you sounded like over the weekend.
I just didn't talk.
So, much like CJ, I'm planning on furthering my education in one way or another, whether it's taking online classes, taking a writing course at the Gotham Writers, whatever, and learning programming. I plan on programming a game that I've had in my head for a while, actually a couple, and it would help if I learned programming first. So I'm going through the learning programming the hard way, which basically breaks it down to you having to type out all
Of countless demons battled. Yeah, we haven't really bothered counting all the demons that we've killed. There have been many. Just as many bottles of moonshine, whiskey, beer, wine, and mystery brews that have been consumed both on and off camera. Even on camera, we haven't really kept track with that, but there are a fair amount of videos from conventions that will prove that. Off air, we're not going to count those. That would be dangerous.
Together, we don't have enough fingers and toes.
No.
I know that we just don't have enough integers. I mean, there's a finite number of integers, so
And there's an infinite amount of things to consume, especially when there's 5 of us. But yeah, it's been an interesting 2 years. We've managed to accomplish a surprising amount. I think we've kicked off a lot more endeavors than we ever imagined since episode 1. And because of that, our main talkie point is going to be, what do we have in the works for the next 2 years? Because nuts to 5-year plans, it's only been 2 years for us already, and look at what we've managed. Just think of what we can do in the next 2 years. I mean, the biggest endeavor, of course, is Inspire the Muse, which is still puttering along. We're slowly pushing that forward. And I think a lot of us, if not all of us, are looking forward to when that's finally a proper thing. It's definitely going to have its own levels of stress and ridiculousness, but suitable for Word Ninja podcast episodes, which have been interesting. Some are more entertaining and better rated than others. Some are definitely NC-17. We have hit over 300 videos on our YouTube channel a couple weeks ago. I think we're technically at about 308 or 310 now, because I uploaded a few this week since I put that number down in the show notes. And we're at approximately 103 episodes on our audio stream. We have less than a half dozen old episodes of WNL to sync, and I think the last 2 weeks, as of this recording, still need to be synced, but we're almost at 100% synchronization. We've vendored...
pretty big deal.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to being at 100% synchronization. It'll make things a lot easier for everyone. We've managed to vendor at 6 conventions, 3 Kineticons, Rhode Island Comic Con, Inconceivable, Your Minicon. We've also been press at Kineticon, Rhode Island, and Inconceivable last year. There should be a 5 in that one. We were not at Your Minicon in the year 1. It was in 2015. We were also press at Your Minicon 2015, Book Expo 2015, And we got 4 more cons this year that we're going to be press at. So that number is going to keep on going up. And other people have added in stats of greetings and salutations, viewers and listeners. Welcome to episode 97 of Word Ninjas Live. We have officially made it 2 years. Yay!
Hooray!
I am somehow still your leader. They haven't booted me out yet. Charles, and joining me tonight are Will.
Hello.
And Justin.
I'm drinking for celebration, not that I needed the celebration excuse in the first place.
And everyone else is off doing crazy shenanigans and whatnots because reasons. But it's been 2 years. It's a Wednesday night. We still got to do a show.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Fine.
But we'll make it somewhat easy on you, since the first one is mainly just interesting statistics to see how far we've come since episode 1. Obviously, we're at 97 Word Ninja Live episodes, which I think is a pretty impressive accomplishment. Not that many podcasts managed to make it to 97, or 2 years, or we'll make it to 100 easily and easily enough at this rate. We've accomplished 22 interviews within that time, mostly at conventions, but we had a few here and there. No, it was about half at conventions, half on the podcast, and a handful elsewhere. We've had 26 not suitable.
You'll be happy to know that I've allotted this entire weekend basically to work on business plan, logistics, and actual writing. And my boss is gone all week, so he can't trick me into doing some emergency project.
While I hope that's true, we'll find out next week how that holds up.
Yep.
But we have a lot of ideas and endeavors in the mix for Inspire the Muse once that becomes a thing. So we're really pushing that forward, and it will be in the next 2 years. It's unlikely it'll be this year just because of how many curveballs we've been thrown, a lot more than we've expected and budgeted for, as it were. But we'll make it happen. As for myself, I'm hoping to push forward my visual novel idea, Ashen Sky, within the next 2 years, which will then become one of the things that we sell and promote, probably through Inspire the Muse, or at least that's the hope. But I really look forward to working on that whole choose-your-own-adventure political intrigue game based in a steampunk world with burlesque tea shops and assassin bakers and biomechanical armies. And I'm hoping, theoretically, that I can pull off a master's in English, or at least get that started within the next 2 years. That keeps on getting pushed back for various reasons. Various other priorities keep on coming up. Not to mention, Matt, education is expensive. And certain financial priorities keep on cropping up.